Hello dear students. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the different ways that psychologists use to measure memory. This still shot shows you the three stages of memory: sensory, short-term, and long-term memory, and the processes that we use to move information from one stage to another. From sensory to short-term memory we use attention, and from short-term memory to long-term memory, we use encoding. And the business of measuring memory involves taking a look at retrieval. That's the business of moving things from long-term memory back into short-term memory. And if you look below the blue titled word, blue colored word encoding, you see retrieval there. And reminder, a synonym for short-term memory is consciousness. So sometimes things are in long-term memory and we want to retrieve them. Ever had the experience where something's on the tip of your tongue? You can feel it then back in long-term memory, but you're having problems retrieving it and bringing it back into short-term memory or consciousness. So let's take a look now at the three methods that psychologists use to measure whether something is in long-term memory. As you can see, the three ways of measuring long-term memory include the recall memory. There's two subtypes, free recall and cued recall. There's the recognition method, and then there's also the relearning method, which also goes by the name the savings method. Let's take a look at each of them now in turn. Let's take a look at recall first. So let's take a look at a cued recall type question, another way of measuring whether something is in long-term memory or not. But first off, here's a free recall question. What's the name of the 16th American president? That's pretty hard for most people. Wouldn't it be great if a hint were provided? This would still test whether the name was in memory. Okay, so here's your hint. His first name was Abraham. Probably everybody got that right. But you know, if somebody were raised in Antarctica or someplace like that where they never studied U.S. history, Abraham and Lincoln would never be a pair. But almost certainly you stored the name Lincoln next to Abraham somewhere during your early education. Okay, well, let's take a look now at a second way that psychologists measure whether something is memory or not. The second method is the recognition method. Given a set of choices, can you find or select the correct answer? Students know this is the multiple choice type question. Here's a simple example of a recognition type question that may actually help you on the next test. Take a moment and see if you can answer this for yourself. Edward Thorndike proposed what? The law of averages? No. Effect. We have one more method that psychologists use when they want to measure whether something is in memory or not. The remaining method for measuring whether something is in memory or not is the savings method, also called relearning. Think back to when you were in high school. Perhaps you took a foreign language for a year or two. Haven't you forgotten most of it? If you went back and tried to relearn that foreign language again today, you would learn it much faster than someone who was taking that language for the very first time in their life. What's the difference between how much you know and how much they know? It's the savings involved of perhaps hiring you to learn the language as opposed to somebody else. This method is widely used in the military as well. They will oftentimes train people as reservists or National Guardsmen to perform military duties and then go home and only train for a weekend a month. Those skills become rusty, but if they get called to active duty, they can relearn how to do that particular skill much faster than training somebody from the very beginning. In this video, you've learned about 3 different ways that psychologists go about the business of measuring whether something is in long-term memory or not. By way of review, I'll put up our introductory slide one more time. Have a great day. You can pause the video at this point if you want to review these 3 methods. Otherwise, this is the end.